Hi, this is Juniper of Sola V Studio, joyfully unifying nature-inspired perceptions with evolving rhythm. And today, I wanted to speak about my porch. So for the, for the past few years, my porch has been rotting away. Rotting. And I actually had my friend step through my porch. He was a bit heavier than me. So, he stepped through my porch. And below my porch is I'm 5'7", right? And if I stick my entire leg down this hole, I can't touch the bottom. So I was very, very thankful that he didn't break his leg. My porch had rotten foundations. And the past few weeks, rebuilding this porch, taking out rotten foundations that no longer serve me and create a dangerous situation in my life, replacing it with good, strong wood, and then putting wood stuff, good healthy boards on top. And at this point, I'm in the process of weatherproofing. So, sinking the screw heads with this drill, because some of them didn't go enough below. Covering those divots with putty. Creating a watertight surface. It will be, I need to get I borrowed a belt sander. So I will be belt sanding, because some of this wood is pretty rough. I will be belt sanding the entire surface and then staining it. Repainting, these are the original railings, so we're using those, but adding the caulking. Can you see? Let's move you down here. So I'm still waiting for the caulking to dry to create good water seal. And then these will be primed and painted white. The wood will be stained. The same color as the garage doors and the front door. So it's been a process, but it really has been metaphorical for me. Without creating a good solid foundation, or if you have a foundation in something, without recognizing what is rotten, what no longer serves you, everything will crumble. My porch was crumbling, and we removed all of the rotting pieces of wood, and we replaced them with good, strong foundation, like a solid wood foundation. But even though we replace it with a good foundation, it's going to take extra work on my part. Filling these little divots. Look how deep they are. They're almost half the length of my fingernail. I don't have fake nails. But if I let water pool in those holes, within a year, rot would start to spread all throughout the foundation I just made. So it's gotten me to thinking, all the caulking, all the puttying, all the waterproofing that I'm doing now is a metaphor for how, in this time, the season of Cancer, how emotions can just rot away. You know, water being emotions. The rain that is always coming down at my house, that's why it's so green. You know, you don't get a green background without rain. It takes water for plants to grow. So, with all this rain coming down, with all this pooling up, this porch could rot within 2 to 5 years. All that work, all that everything. But if I take my time and I watch the spots, if I think like water, and watch the spots on this porch where water can penetrate and start rotting, and then it's a sponge effect, and then the bugs get in there. oh my goodness, taking this porch apart. There's so many earwigs, potato bugs, that sort of thing, because it was all wet, rotten wood, and that's where they like to live. And that's just like in our life. In our life, our emotions can erode, can ruin beautiful foundations that we've set up for ourselves. But if we let our emotions get the better of ourselves, it's all for naught. I'm a heavy water sign. I have some practice with dealing with emotions. I have a lot of water in my chart. So I'm no stranger to the emotional realm and how the emotional realm can bring about thoughts of unworthiness, how the emotional realm can bring about thoughts of mistrust, how the emotional realm can bring up thoughts of insecurity. Oh my goodness, what is so-and-so saying about me? Oh my goodness, what is so-and-so thinking about me? All of those emotions don't serve you, and they will rot away any foundation you can build. So yes, you can use the element of earth and really build this strong, firm foundation. But if you will let your emotional self tear it all down before the rest of it gets finished, then it's for nothing. So you have the thought of, oh yes, I need to build a firm foundation. You have the fire of, oh yes, I need to actually do the work. You have the earth, the materials in which you build the firm foundation, in which you manifest it, in which it can become something you can see with your human eye, not your spiritual eye, but your human eye. But then the water can just come in, and in a short amount of time, create a massive amount of devastation. So water, in some ways, the emotional realm is so very powerful. The emotional realm can make relationships discontinue. The emotional realm can make dissonance in any relationship. The emotional realm can tear families apart. So as I'm spending the next good amount of time trying to look at my porch, trying to see, okay, where could the water come in? So let's look over here. So all along this edge of my house, I have created a bead of caulking. All around this post, where the rail meets the post. Oh, you can't see that. I've created a bead of caulking. Yes, I'll go through and sand it and make it pretty. And there's all the rotten wood. That's all the rot that I had to remove. And it metaphorically is from my life. I'm constantly removing things that don't serve me in my life. But my uncle built this beautiful little bump out of some of the old cedar fence boards. So I've angled it so when the rain comes, there's a 45 almost of caulk. So it will just run down. This will be primed and painted to protect from that emotional water that will potentially rot things out from the bottom up. And sometimes it's really hard to see that. But the other interesting thing for me is my dear sister, my only sibling, mosquito, lived with me from last September until this past December. And we hadn't lived together in a few decades. And so her living here with me and my children and my boyfriend and her boyfriend, it created, it brought up childhood stuff. It brought up stuff, just sharing a living space. And she came over for dinner after we did a lot of work on this porch. And that's also why this porch is so metaphorically reminded me of my emotions, because all of those feelings I had with living with her and she had with living with me. On Saturday, we both had to decide. Are we going to be civil? Are we going to be jerks? Are we going to rehash, well, you did this and you did that? Or are we just going to be like, okay, you're my sister. You're at my house for dinner. I love you. That was my choice this Saturday. I didn't realize my mom was going to invite her over for dinner. Just saying. So, the emotional realm, I could have let that night with my sister, I could have thrown a tantrum, called my sister out, said all these, oh, well, you, and she could have said, well, you, in front of my parents, and created this disastrous situation because we got up in our emotions. But instead, we both decided that we loved each other and we weren't going to create the drama. We weren't going to create the dissonance. And my sister was actually very happy because of her living here. She felt how wobbly the porch was when you walked on it. She felt the instability that can be created through the emotions of water, metaphorically. So that's what I have for you today. Blessings. I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July.